So I finally got to live one of my big sound design dreams recently, which is to do dinosaur sound effects for a video game. So for those of you that don't know, I'm working on an upcoming farm sim. I'm doing sound design and music for it. It's called Grimshire, and the game stars anthropomorphic animals. So to differentiate between the livestock and kind of the characters in the game, the devs decided to use these fantasy creatures. One of them being these little guys called the Chikrees, which are kind of supposed to be the chickens, but they're dinosaurs. I don't know. They're really cute. I like them. I dig them. And I got to make sounds for them. So let me show you some of the sounds I made in game. And then if you're interested in behind the scenes stuff, stick around. I'll show you a breakdown of what went into making each one of those. All right, so I've got my Reaper session open here, and as you can see up at the top, I've got 5 categories of sounds that I've made here. I've got the happy, I've got the idle sounds, I've got angry sounds, death sounds, and sleeping. I really only have 2 or 3 layers per sound. I like to keep animal sounds as like natural sounding as possible. I found this meerkat sound library for like 10 bucks. I love how it sounds. Let me just scroll through some of these for you and show you what they sound like. So right away, I already like that because it kind of reminds me a little bit of like some small dinosaur sounds if you kind of close your eyes and picture it. But it also has a very bird-like quality to it, almost like a crow or a rooster or something like that. So it was already kind of in the neighborhood. So what I did was I added some extra sounds to kind of just give the brain a little bit more of a reptile association. And when you're doing sound design, you have to think non-literally. Now, obviously, some of the sounds I'll play for you, like that's not what a real reptile would sound like. But I think when you layer it in a subtle way, it kind of just puts your brain in a space where you're like, oh, I'm hearing a lizard. One thing I hear a lot of when I hear dinosaur sound effects or things like that is a lot of clicking and pops and a lot of just kind of like hissing mouth noises. So one thing I added to a lot of these was beetle wings. So if you hear that, so when I combine that with the vocalization, it just kind of goes together nicely. Another one is a syringe here, just squirting something. But again, putting that in context, I just think that has like a really nice lizardy quality to it. So let me play these for you. And yeah, meerkats are kind of angry sounding, at least from what I've heard. So I really had to just piece together. As you can see, I have like different clips kind of stuck together here, Frankenstein together. But I really just had to go through and find those subtle little moments that I could kind of spin into something more happy. So for the idle sounds, I really wanted to lean into that more bird-like, chicken-like kind of vocalizations that they make because these are kind of supposed to be like the chickens of the game. So let me show you what I started with as the basic layers here. And you can see by the way I split these clips that I did do a lot more Frankensteining work to these. But here you go. Let me just play a couple for you without any extra layers. And I think I actually had one other layer here that was sea lion because I just really liked it. And it did sound like it could belong to the same animal. Again, sea lions, they make a lot of really crazy noises, but that one just happened to fit right in with what I was doing here. So the other thing I added were these layers of somebody kind of just handling a snake skin, basically. It kind of reminded me of like the mouth of a lizard opening, I guess, if you could say. Even maybe like a little hissing or breath noise. And then lastly, I added these more of those kind of like beetle wings and stuff like that. So you hear it all together, and this is what it sounds like. All right. So there we go. There's just some examples of how a few different layers together kind of can make it sound like a more believable fantasy creature. So I already have this sound effect that I created for the other critters in this game for when they're slaughtered. That's why I called this the slaughter bus, which I thought would be an awesome band name. But it's just a knife and some vegetable squeezing here. Brutal. Now these are the screams from the meerkat that I used, and you'll notice I didn't use any other layers, primarily because um, the tomato squirts here are kind of taking up the same frequency range. So it really would just get masked if I tried to add like all the lizardy extra sounds to it. So here's what I got. Yeah. What's kind of funny about this is when I was making some of the other creatures, when I did the Alpheeps, I actually used otter because otters can make some really crazy sounds. And when I sent my first sort of version to Tim, he was like, "This sounds like you're torturing them in some inhumane way. Like it needs to be a sharp, quick death, kind of like, blah, and that's it." So I thought that was pretty funny. Maybe sometime if I can find the session, I'll show you. Last thing I wanted to show you is some of these angry sounds. Again, to kind of sell the idea that these were lizard, dinosaur creatures, I added some sounds of snake hissing. And then when I ran out of snake hisses, I found some nice, like, cardboard sliding sounds. So I think this is the cardboard. Let me show you. Nope, that's the snake. This is the cardboard. So if you listen to it. Right? Like it already sounds like some sort of animal or a raccoon or something hissing at you, which actually I think this one right here is raccoon and these two are cardboard box. But anyway, there's the snake. Okay, so when you layer it together with the screams, it gives you this really nice lizardy, like screeching sound. This one especially is like almost Jurassic Park-like to me. I like it. And that's why I like the meerkats, because they already kind of sound like they belong to a dinosaur if you use your imagination a bit. So the last thing I did was the sleeping sounds, and I actually created a few different versions and let Tim and Sarah pick which ones they like best, because I had a few different ideas. So what I ended up doing, I used more of the like hissing. I liked the cardboard ones because they were a little bit softer. So this is like kind of a mix of the snake sounds and the cardboard sliding sounds. And then I used the beetle wings and used them both together along with some snoring. Actually, if you look at this, it's from a pug. You see it says a dog snoring here. Well, I actually found a nice little recording of a pug snoring. I just like how pugs snore. I think it sounds really cute and funny. So here's what I came up with. Anyway, yeah, there you go. There it has that lizardy quality to it. But another idea I had was, well, what if I try like a rattle? Now, that might sound a little goofy to you because obviously, this snake creature doesn't have a rattle, but I was just kind of thinking about how in cartoons they always do the over the top like and people don't really snore like that. So I just thought it might be kind of a cute little cartoony thing to do, is just add like a little rattle. But that is not what we ended up going with, and that's totally fine. And then the last thing I had, what did I do here? Oh, I found some vocalizations from the meerkat that were, I don't know, a little bit closer to like snoring sounds, but in the end, it just sounded too awake to me, so we didn't go with it. But I'll just play you what I had anyway. I mean, it's still kind of cute, but I am happy with what we went with anyway. It didn't really take me too long to put these together. Some of the other creatures I really struggle with, but this one, I feel like the finding that meerkat sound library was like an absolute clutch move. I really like how meerkats have kind of a dinosaur like growl anyway. So all I really had to do was just kind of tie it together with some, reptile hisses and mouthy sounds. And I like what we came up with here. Hopefully you guys do too. All right, thanks so much for watching my sound design breakdown. And if you want to see more stuff behind the scenes about how I'm creating sounds for Grimshire, other games, or pretty soon here, I'm going to do a commentary on the different music tracks that I've created. Please feel free to unlawfully intimidate that like and that subscribe button. Or if you're on LinkedIn, send me a connect request. I always love meeting new people. Or you can feel free to join our Discord. I love hanging out in there and chatting with everybody. And thanks for making it through this video. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day.